Welcome to our city, Liverpool. We have one of the largest LGBTQ+ communities in the UK that has recorded history going all the way back to the 18th century. But today, in 2023 at Talent Match NYA, we are creating a short LGBTQ+ documentary, exploring what it's like to be a young person from the LGBTQ+ community in the workplace. We will share real experiences and barriers we face, what hopes and fears we have for the future, and gain insight on what other companies do well and what others can do better.
I'm Matty, I use they them pronouns, I'm 21 years old. I think it's just really important for awareness, because it's all well and good to make things for our own community, but we need people who don't really know anything to get onto our side, to guide them onto the journey of being allies.
My name's Mills, I'm 22, my pronouns are she, they. I think a lot of companies and a lot of just people in general don't realise that it's an issue and can be quite ignorant to the fact that it is an issue, and I think that's the main reason why so many of us suffer in silence. So it's nice to be able to get the word out there and that other people can kind of see that they're not alone in feeling how they feel.
I'm Liam, I'm 21 and my pronouns are he, him. I think it's important to make this documentary because a lot of people are scared of the unknown, you know, lack of information, scared of what's coming next or what they should do about the subject. So I think providing people with the information can help calm a lot of judgments around that kind of subject. My biggest fear around being in the workplace is being accepted as my identity, who I am, because I've experienced discrimination in the past myself.
I think one of the main fears about going into the workplace is that I'm not able to tell people my sexual orientation. I get a bit scared in case maybe they're homophobic. And I think sometimes it's difficult to create connections with colleagues because I have to watch out and judge the situation of, is it safe for me to be myself or is it safe to tell them these things?
Honestly, my fears are a lot to do with trans rights, because as a transgender non-binary person, a lot of the media and the government really attacks those rights. And I feel like one day that I go into a job and I can just get fired on the spot just for being trans, or going out in society and just being ridiculed and it's just okay and nobody really does anything about it. That type of thing would just be okay in the workplace. That's what I fear the most.
Now you've met our fabulous Talent Match team, it's time to take it to the streets to get the general public's opinion.
My name's Reese, I'm bisexual. I have experienced some discrimination in the workplace. In my previous job, when I used to be a labourer, I experienced quite a bit of it. I only told one other worker and where it got round. Started off with a little bit of banter initially and then it started turning a little bit more sinister, but I managed to have a word with the boss and all of that got cut out afterwards, which is quite good.
I'm Seren. I have one of my closest friends is trans. I have a couple of gay friends. We're all treated the same. None of us are segregated against each other. You know, it doesn't matter what colour, what, sexuality. We're all treated the same.
I went to an all-girls school and it was a big taboo thing to be lesbian. I know a lot of people now didn't come out in school because it was really frowned upon. It used to be used as an insult and stuff, so I didn't come out either when I was in secondary, but at uni and work I've never experienced anything.
I think the workplace I'm in right now is quite inclusive for me to be who I want to be, so everyone's pretty accepting. There's no sort of judgment or bullying or discrimination. To make me feel more included, my managers, when I was being interviewed, and they asked me a couple of questions about my identity and who I am, so they can make some sort of adjustments around it. But yeah, she just sort of spoke to all the staff, made sure everyone was okay with it, everyone's on board.
They are very supportive, but I feel like they should have a one-on-one conversation, maybe counselling a bit more.
Definitely.
And to not have it maybe broadcasted until they feel like they're ready to come out.
That's so true.
Just having a safe space, because I know that even if there's nothing direct, if there's no explicit discrimination, I think just having an area for people to go, which is why you have events like Pride and gay clubs, because it's just a place that you can feel safe and know that you're surrounded by like-minded people.
A more open policy between everybody who's working there. People don't necessarily have to make it sort of knowledge to everybody who you are or what you do, but if there is any sort of discrimination, people need to be able to feel like they can flag it up with the manager, and they need to be able to feel like the manager will do something about that, or talk to the other employee who's maybe discriminating against them or bullying them for it, maybe introduce a sort of penalty or something for it. I'm not sure exactly what that would be, but I think a real punishment needs to be given out whenever anyone's discriminated against in that sort of way. It's not fair to discriminate against someone because of something they can't help.
Here's some statistics that we found during our research.
41% of LGBT respondents were estranged from at least one family member.
24% of young people homeless or at risk are LGBT, and 77% of that number believe coming out to family was the main factor to their homelessness.
59% of young people have experienced some form of discrimination while accessing services.
49% of LGBT respondents were likely to rarely or never feel close to others.
90% of LGBT respondents experienced depression or panic attacks within the last 12 months.
25% of LGBT young adults go back into the closet after starting work.
48% of LGBT respondents were not confident they'd have a career they would enjoy.
Non-binary and trans people are least likely to feel safe at work.
My name's Tom Hawley. I go by he, him pronouns, and I'm a bookshop manager and area people support for the Northwest. So it's very important to Waterstones that we employ people from a diverse range of backgrounds, and it's the diversity that we have in our booksellers and baristas that reflects our custom base. Because we're a diverse workforce, our customers feel safe and welcome to shop in our shops.
I'm Kit, I'm they, them. I've worked for Waterstones for 19 years now. Bookselling has always been inherently queer. I think it attracts a certain type of person maybe that kind of felt that they couldn't be themselves when they were younger, so they escaped to books. And then working for Waterstones, you just find that so many people have been on that journey too. I met my best friend in bookselling, who's queer. I met my wife. That just makes it a safe space inherently.
So we have an equity, diversity and inclusion policy that's been in place for the last few years. And the cornerstone of that policy is to promote fairness and respect for all. And it's just to ensure that all staff decisions are based on ability and skill. We have an EDI working group. All members of staff can email to make suggestions and any improvements to the EDI policy. And the EDI working group, that's managed by people from all levels of the business. We have online training courses in unconscious bias. All our staff, all our booksellers and baristas are required to complete. I think that's something that other organisations can definitely learn from.
Here is such a great place to work. I came out as non-binary about a year ago. I had a chat with my manager and she was just amazing about it. I talked it through with all my colleagues. I put up a poster in the staff room and everyone was so welcoming of it. It was a really beautiful thing. I don't think you necessarily get that everywhere, but certainly in Waterstones, it's just expected, you know. It's expected that they'll just treat you well. Personally, I always think diversity, it's important to have, for it to come from the top down. So if people can see themselves in upper management, if they can see queer people in upper management, then I think that's just a really important aspect of any company.
They should most definitely be in leadership roles, particularly acting as role models, because everything is based on ability and skill. It's only fair that our LGBTQ+ employees reach those leadership positions.
My name is Amira Conrad, my pronouns are she, they. So I've been in post at 20 Stories High for just over a year now. I started off as the Associate Director and I'm now the Associate Autistic Director. 20 Stories High is a safe space for LGBTQIAP+ community members because it's a space that really does encourage people to be themselves. It's in our motto, everyone's got a story to tell in their own way of telling it, and we love when people bring their authentic selves into the workplace. We encourage it, we celebrate it. It's not the kind of place where people are tolerated, it's the kind of place where people are celebrated. So we've got loads of different policies in place to protect our LGBTQ+ staff, all the way from our staff workbooks and handbooks into the way that we work in rehearsal rooms. We're an arts organisation. Some of the major policies are around sort of harassment, self-care, workplace care, making sure that everybody in the space feels like they can be safe, and if anything happens in moments where they feel unsafe, that they have someone that they can directly speak to about that. And then that person also has someone that they can directly speak to. So everybody's got someone that they can talk to and somewhere that they can turn. We're very lucky at 20 Stories High because we're quite a small organisation. We have just under 10 staff members who are here most of the week, and a lot of those people are members of the community, myself included. And in and amongst ourselves, we try to hash out any problems that we have. We keep it really clear and open. So I think in terms of improvement, in terms of diversity, the theatre industry at large has a really long way to go. I think where we get things right is we work always with culturally diverse, deaf, disabled and neurodiverse, working class young people from the L8 area, but also Liverpool and Merseyside at large. I think in terms of issues of handling moments or issues of discrimination or harassment, we have really clear HR protocols that we follow. So we have incident reports, everybody's got a line manager that they can talk to, and our line managers have line managers who then, all the way up to our CEOs who have the board that they report to. And if anything happens within that, we do things separately first and then bring it together to see if there's any way to repair it. And if not, if things have to be done in order to release people from their contracts or release people from their jobs, we're very open to processes like that. Yeah, I've got a zero tolerance policy in terms of harassment around gender, sexuality and identity. I absolutely think it's important for LGBTQI people to have leadership roles. The more diversity and the more differences that you have within leadership teams just means that you can access loads of different information, you can have loads of different pots of lived experience, which just makes companies better. We're a company that really believes that equity, diversity and inclusion, it should be at the forefront of everything that every organisation does because, yeah, like I said, it makes us more interesting. Particularly as an arts organisation, we just want to tell really interesting stories, and that means having loads of different kinds of people.
Do's and don'ts when it comes to LGBTQ+ people in the workplace. Educate yourself. Take the initiative to educate yourself about LGBTQ+ issues and terminology to better understand the experiences of your LGBTQ+ colleagues.
Use inclusive language. Use gender-neutral language whenever possible, such as partner, instead of assuming someone's spouse's gender.
Support employee resource groups. Encourage and support the formation of LGBTQ+ employee resource groups within your organisation.
Address microaggressions. If you witness microaggressions or insensitive comments, address them respectfully and educate others on why such comments are inappropriate.
Respect dress code. Allow employees to dress in a way that aligns with their gender identity and expression, as long as it adheres to the company's dress code policy.
Promote diversity in leadership. Advocate for LGBT+ representation in leadership positions with your organisation.
Offer gender transition support. If a colleague is undergoing a gender transition, provide support and accommodations as needed, such as name and pronoun changes.
Don't.
Never disclose someone's LGBTQ+ identity without their consent. Respect their privacy and allow them to come out on their own terms.
Avoid stereotyping. Avoid making assumptions or generalisations about the LGBTQ+ individuals based on stereotypes.
Don't make invasive inquiries. Avoid asking intrusive questions about someone's personal life, including their sexual orientation or gender identity.
Don't tolerate bullying or harassment. Report and address any incidents of the LGBTQ+ bullying, harassment or discrimination promptly.
Avoid jokes or offensive remarks. Refrain from making jokes or comments that may be offensive or hurtful to LGBTQ+ individuals.
Don't ignore concerns. If an LGBTQ+ colleague raises concerns about discrimination or harassment, take them seriously and follow your organisation's policy for addressing such issues.
Avoid tokenism. Don't use LGBTQ+ individuals as tokens or symbols of diversity. Treat everyone as equals and with respect. Remember that creating an inclusive workplace is an ongoing effort. And it's important to continuously learn, grow and adapt to create a more supportive and welcoming environment for all employees, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity.
We need to create better environments for our community, not only within the workplace, but in everyday society. It's crucial for us to recognise and address the challenges and barriers the LGBTQ+ community face.
We can start by
embracing diversity. Encourage workplaces to embrace diversity by celebrating LGBTQ+ identities. Create an inclusive environment.
Education and awareness. Promote LGBTQ+ awareness and education programmes to reduce stereotypes, bias and discrimination.
Encourage allies to actively support LGBTQ+ co-workers by being informed, empathetic and standing up against discrimination.
Policy changes. Advocate for inclusive workplace policies that protect LGBTQ+ rights, including non-discrimination and gender identity protections.
Safe spaces. Create safe spaces where LGBTQ+ individuals can openly discuss their experiences, challenges, and ideas for improvement.
By taking these steps, we can work towards a future where young LGBTQ+ individuals can thrive in the workplace without fear or discrimination.
If companies at any level prioritise diversity, equality, and respect for all, then together we can build a more inclusive and accepting society for everyone.
I am happy, and I can finally say I mean those words. I can shout it, I can scream it, I can write it over and over. The days I said I'm fine, days I said I'm okay, those were not true. I would say it, but I wouldn't mean it. Inside, I was in pain. But now, I say something else instead. No more, I'm okay, I'm alright, I'm fine. I answer differently. I say, I'm good, I'm doing well. Today is a good day. And most of all, I'm happy.